If you do it right, you work the leads, you have good speed of lead, you show up and you are who you say you are on TV, you're going to get deals. Our marketing spends increase because our returns have increased from TV. So starting with TV in general, the brand awareness goes through the roof for sure, like right off the bat. I can tell if it's a TV lead and there's some motivation, I know that's going to be a great deal. We do more TV deals, obviously. So the total profit from TV is the largest, but it's also really big deals, right? Go spend $5,000 on TV. I guarantee you're going to get way better returns, way better connections. Everybody in town is going to know you. Like, what more would you want from a market from an entrepreneurial standpoint? We did it. We figured it out. We hired the team. And what that did to me was...
Angelo, before we get going here, I'd love for you to just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your real estate journey, and a little 30,000 foot overview of what you guys are doing currently.
Yeah, love it. I have been real estate investing since 2015, so about 10 years now. It's flown by, learned a ton, started off very, just like most other real estate investors, bought a house, lived in it, was doing drywall and paint and all that fun stuff. Me and my wife living in the house, which I would not suggest for anybody to do. Don't do that if you don't have to. And then we sold that house and just kind of kept going from there. During that time, I met an individual in Richmond, Virginia, who took me under his wing, taught me so much in return for him teaching me stuff. I scaled his business. That's what I do. And, we parted ways a few years ago when I was able to start my own recruiting company, as well as join as a CEO of another real estate investing company, Sierra Home Buyer. So that's the short of the journey. And I'm sure there's a lot more to talk about after that.
Awesome. Love it. Cool. What did your guys' marketing look like before adding TV into the mix?
Yeah, so we have always been direct mailing, pay-per lead, cold calling, cold texting. There was a bunch of other ones that we use as well, and some we still do, some we don't. But TV was a huge thing for us, and I started using TV 8 years ago, about 7-8 years ago. When we first started, we had no idea what to expect. We had a great provider who gave us a ton of guidance and all of that good stuff, and we have had consistent returns for 7-8 years in TV with whatever company I'm with. If you do it right, you work the leads, you have good speed of lead, you show up and you are who you say you are on TV, you're going to get deals. There's very few clients I have in the recruiting company, very few network people I know in single family real estate investing that do TV where it doesn't perform. There's I don't know many. And in addition to that, most of the folks that do TV and have consistently been doing it, just like us, it's their number one marketing channel and nothing really is close. And what we love about it is before TV, we were spending a lot of other money on, more direct mail pieces, more data, more targets, more of that stuff. And TV now, especially with working you guys for a couple of years, is almost set it and forget it. We'll get into some of the things I've learned over the last few years of what we do change, but it's much more consistent. And our marketing spends increased because our returns have increased from TV.
Awesome. I know you talked a little bit about it, but I know you used to run with a different company, now running with us. What has been the difference between running with us?
Yeah, sometimes you just don't know what you don't know in life, right? And we had a provider, I love this guy, right? We were with them for 6-7 years consistently, and something just felt off. Right. And I had never used a different TV provider, so I didn't know the level of service and the reporting and, the team structure of, basically an entertainment company, I guess you would call a TV provider. So we just didn't know what we didn't know. And we spoke to you and Tony, and right off the bat, I knew, okay, these guys are well-oiled. They're friendly. I could pick up the phone, talk to them about anything. And there's been so many things outside of TV that you guys have helped us with as well. So the number one difference has been service level, without a doubt. I have not had a negative feeling about TV since I moved over to you guys. I haven't had to worry about it. Even, for example, Joel, my business partner, he just went and shot a bunch of interviews down at the local radio stations. And we came to your team to ask for advice. And you guys basically set up like 75 to 80% of it and gave us pointers and tips and all this awesome stuff. So one, level of service. Two, kind of ties into the level of service, but with the creative stuff, right? We shoot a ton of commercials. We try to change it every quarter. And we get to send those to you and to Heather and to everybody. And Heather will be like, no, tweak this, do this. What about this? What about this? Where before it was kind of everyone had the same TV commercial and there was no variety or change. So with you guys, having that has been awesome because now it gives us the confidence to be like, hey, we're just going to go shoot 20 of them, whatever the hell we want, bring them to you guys. And you guys are like, use these 4. We're like, okay, good. We'll use those 4. And it's worked out great.
Awesome. Love it. Cool. What has been the biggest change that you have seen since starting TV, just in general?
Well, starting with you guys, but starting with TV in general, the brand awareness goes through the roof for sure. Like right off the bat, whether somebody's looking to sell their house or not, if you're on TV, especially with the older crowd, they generally are going to know who you are in between the news channels, which has been great. Not so much for Joel because he's the face of TV. So anytime he goes into town, he's recognized everywhere because he's been running it in Reno for like 12 years. So brand recognition, number one. Number two, obviously the authority that comes along with that brand recognition. And what's awesome about TV leads is our lead managers will set an appointment for our acquisition managers. I can tell if it's a TV lead and there's some motivation, I know that's going to be a great deal. Like I already know because our team is just so well known from TV. Our acquisition managers are known from TV. We go in, it's like off the bat. The single family real estate investing space doesn't have the best rap. People don't think that highly of us, but having that brand authority to go into a living room is massive.
Oh yeah, for sure. And how many different lead generation methods did you try before starting TV?
Yeah, not always, but direct mail, pay per lead, PPC, SEO, cold calling, cold texting, billboards, radio, like all of them, right? And now we just have like our main 6 or 7 because we don't need to go chase, pay per lead providers and get our credits back for a lead. We don't need to mess around with PPC. We're thinking about it next year, but it's just more of a headache. We're not looking to scale to $5,000-$6,000 or 5,000-6,000 deals a year, right? I mean, I was COO of a company. We were doing 40-50 deals a month, and it's just not a life that Joel or I want. We like repeatable. We like set it and forget it. We like high profit margins, and TV brings all 3 of those.
Want to get motivated sellers that nobody knows about? Introducing 10x TV. If you want to create credibility in your market, find deals that nobody else knows about, and crush your competition, you need to check into TV commercials. It is the new buzz in the real estate investing industry since we introduced it several years ago. I've been using TV commercials myself for the last 12 years and it's absolutely crushed it. So if you want to learn how to get on TV and to do something that little to no people are doing right now, go to claimmymarket.com. Again, that's claimmymarket.com. We usually only work with 2 investors per market, so if you're interested, reach out to us and book a call to see if you can claim your market before anybody else does. Now back to the show.
How has your team changed since starting TV?
That's an interesting question. They love getting involved in referring testimonial providers to us. So our lead managers are really the lifeblood of our team. I say this to my clients, to my team all the time. If it wasn't for you guys setting the first impression and the first tone and really building that rapport and sounding professional, we wouldn't get as many deals as we do. So TV has changed them in the fact where they're building such good rapport with these individuals off the bat. And then a lot of our lead managers, they'll work with the sellers even after we're under contract, just because they've built such a good relationship. We're like, hey, you want to keep taking that, you could take it. And right when a deal closes, they'll get like a card or a call or an email from the sellers, like thanking, expressing. And then our team will bring that to us and be like, hey, for the next round of testimonials, because we use those in our TV commercials as well, we should use Susan or Rick or Sue. Like they'd be a great testimonial. He's a veteran or is a retired school teacher, whatever it is. They are our eyes and ears for those testimonials, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing what your monthly cost is on TV?
Yeah, TV right now we're spending $12,000 a month. I believe when we started with you guys, we were doing $20,000 a month. And the reason why that is we started at 20, we started at 18, then we went up to 20, seeing if it would move the needle a little bit. It didn't, so I started ratcheting the needle back down, and our returns have stayed. Well, profit has stayed the same. The difference between 18 and 12. So we were spending 20 before we met you guys, but now with all the data and the information and the TV channel, like everything you guys give us, we're able to dial that in. And right now we're at 12. We're probably going to increase that in 2026 just because our ROI is so large that I have a feeling right now there's a little bit more room for more saturation for us.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that was more or less than what you thought it was going to be before ever doing TV?
Less, for sure. So before I ever started doing TV, I would think it would have been like 50 grand a month, because the only time people talk about pricing of commercials is during the Super Bowl. And all you hear is millions, right? You don't hear Channel 4 down the road, So Yeah, I thought it was going to be way more expensive, like six figures, 50 grand to six figures, like 50 grand just to get started for sure.
Well, I know one commercial for it wasn't the Super Bowl, but it was the round before, and I'm blanking on it. It was Chiefs versus something last year. It was like, I think it was like 400 grand for one commercial. It was absurd, but
It's unbelievable.
yeah, definitely. Most people think it's 50, 60, 70, 100 grand a month when in reality, it's just not that. So,
Right.
what have you seen from a seller standpoint? The difference between TV leads versus anything else. Have you seen a difference in the actual sellers themselves?
Yeah. Number one, they're not as stressed and pulled in separate directions by having our competitors in the door as well. You see that a ton with PPC. Someone clicks and then they click the next three. Next thing you know, they got four people calling them. But generally, a TV lead, like, we can chill, we have time. They called us for a reason. Obviously, brand and authority is important to them, so they called us. That's number one, is there's not as much competition in the door, first and foremost. The second one is we use Joel's kids on the TV commercial, his twin boys. And Joel's been doing that for like 8 years. So Reno, the market we're in, has seen these kids grow up from the age of like 3 to, I believe they're 11 now. And anytime somebody mentions like, hey, Joel and the twins, like, Joel's the owner, but he likes going on appointments. He likes locking up deals. So if we see like a huge spread deal, we're like, hey, Joel, you could go take this one. And he loves it, right? He loves like the rock star, the known, the visibility, and the sellers love him without even meeting him before he even walks in the door. So that has been incredible. The other one is typically our biggest profit margin per deal is actually direct mail by a small margin, but we do more TV deals, obviously. So the total profit from TV is the largest, but it's also really big deals, right? And generally, it's 50, 60, 70, 80, $90,000 a deal. Especially if we're flipping it, it's going to be closer to that six figures where, you get PPC, you get all these, lead providers where there's a lot of competition. You're going to get undercut, right? You might make 20, you might make 30, you might make 40, but TV generally doesn't have the competition, and that allows us to buy at a deeper discount.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific stories about, a specific deal where you saw the TV credibility really pay off?
Yeah, really every TV deal we get, which is interesting. But yeah, so we bought a house from one of Joel's family friends. We bought a house from her parents, and super nice lady. I never met her. And previously, a few years ago, we were running this commercial where we did a testimonial, right? It was a nice old lady, super kind. She was a retired school teacher, and it worked like a charm. I still think that company's running that TV ad to this day. So we tried that, and the lady was just incredible and soft-spoken. And like, you could feel how much we helped her get her family out of that house. Her parents were getting old and they couldn't take care of it. And she was like, I don't know what to do. So we literally handled everything for her. And, the emotion from that, number one, is incredible. But when we asked her to do the testimonial, because it was going to be on the TV commercial, some people are hesitant. Some people are like, no, I don't want to be on TV, right? It's a lot to ask somebody. She's like, you guys did so much for me. This is the least I could do for you. And like, I could tear up just like talking about this kind of stuff. But yeah, that is probably the most memorable one. And that just happened, within the last year. So there's many, many more like that for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. Anything else that you've seen from the TV itself as far as like, private money or any special treatment or any discounts on, flipping costs or anything like that you've seen come from the TV commercials?
Yeah, and what's really interesting is we get a lot of buyers, folks that want to get into real estate investing or just want to buy a house for their son. That is the discount that might need some work. So we get a lot of like local market investors who call in and they're like, hey, I don't want to sell my house, but do you guys have any properties available for sale? So for wholesaling is beautiful. And generally the people that buy one every couple of years, those are the people that pay the most, as we all know. So that's been huge from TV as well. And really it's kind of boosted all of our other brands as well, right? So when we cold call and cold text, right, we don't use Sierra Home Buyers or Sierra Buys, right? We use a different entity that we still own, and it's just passed through that. And then once they're warming up and they're like, yep, I'm interested, then we reveal who we are. And off the bat, they're like, oh, thank God. Like, oh, cool. So it breaks down that barrier of entry on the lower quality lead sources where more people would be defensive or not want to open up as much to us. And we're able to leverage that from our brand from TV, which is great.
Has being on TV created any, opportunities or any other, unexpected partnerships or anything like that, or helped in any other capacity?
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. Have opportunities arisen? Yes. Me and Joel are very selective with what we do with our time and our energy and our business. We're super selective. We're both very much lifestyle guys first, and then really good business operators second, not the other way around. So yeah, a ton of people wanting to lend us money, inspectors asking for work, appraisers, real estate agents call us 10 times a week, 10 different agents like, hey, can we list your flips? Can we do that? It's like, yeah, no. So yeah, I mean, our name is well known, especially when we were doing MLS offers. So making offers on listed properties. This was when it was a little bit slower in 23. We don't do that anymore, but right away when we would make the offers, our agent would make the offers, they would see who's buying and they're like, oh, like these guys are actual buyers. Their agent would tell the sellers, because generally people doing that is just like lowball offer out of town, looking to wholesale or whatnot. But that helped us a ton there too, just from being on TV, people knowing us.
That's awesome. You keep mentioning the lifestyle but design, and I kind of want to dig into that a little bit because I know a lot of investors want to say they do 400 flips a year, 400 deals a year, 500 deals a year, and you always look at their business models and their profit margin is not nearly as big as someone that really just focuses on quality. If you don't mind kind of talking a little bit to that, I know guys like yourself and Rick Howell, there's guys that I know that are super lifestyle by design and only really cherry pick the deals that they do. Kind of talk about that and what your experience has been in the difference of it.
Yeah, you're going to get me in trouble here, Noah. But yes, so as I mentioned previously, before I started my own business, we were doing ridiculous amount of volume with deals, all single family, fix and flip, ground up construction, modular homes, shipping in homes from factories and assembling them on site, commercial stuff, like everything. There was nothing we said no to, right? If we thought it could make us money, we did it. We figured it out. We hired the team. And what that did to me was make me lose my love for business, right? And it's because I was putting it first. And my whole life, right? Yeah, we were making great money, right? My wife, at the time she was my fiance, she still stayed with me. We didn't have kids, but I realized this is not sustainable, right? Like, sure, I could go have $100 million, sure, but what else am I really going to have aside from that? And then kind of seeing that in real time play out with somebody that was ahead of me in life, them chasing that 100 million and kind of neglecting the family, neglecting the kids. I got to see that in real time and realize like that is not the life I want. When I was 20, going through college, graduating college, that was the life I wanted. But, over 5-6 years, it changed pretty quickly and for the better, right? So right now, me and Joel are very much in alignment. If he was going after hundreds of deals, a month or a quarter, like he and I would not work together, and he understands vice versa. Because when I started working with him, he wanted to grow, he wanted to scale, but then he had the same realization I did. This is not worth it. How can we get, a 5 or 7 year plan together to, not need to work for money, not need to make money, and have the option to do so. So that's the business that we've built now. It's a small team, right? We got like 10 folks total. That includes 3 virtual assistants. There's 10 of us. And we are doing massive numbers, right? So volume wise, no, we're not doing 50 deals a month. I don't want to do that, but 10, 12, 15 deals a month with big spreads makes up for the guy doing 50 deals at a 20K spread each, right? So we decided to flip it on its head and just go deeper, cherry pick the flips, wholesale, basically everything else, cherry pick the deep discounted rentals, and work. Sure, we still work a lot, right? It's still the 40, 50 hours a week, but it's not the 80, 90 in the office till 9 p.m., right? The cool thing about our business now is, like, for example, Joel last week, it was Monday. He's like, hey, I got invited to this thing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Do you care if I go? I'm like, we're good, go. Like, tomorrow I have tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and Monday, I'm flying my whole development team down who build all of our back end systems. They're coming down here. We're meeting Thursday, Friday, golfing Saturday, Sunday going to be hanging out at the beach. And then Monday, we're going to do a business meeting wrap up and then they fly home. But having this business set up this way allows us to do that. He can go, I could step in, I could go, he could step in. If we were doing, 50 deals and me or Joel had to approve everything, like it's very hard to do that. You think you can do it until you're there and you realize like, oh, the only thing I'm thinking about is work and I'm not there. And then I come back and I have 2 weeks more worth of work than the 4 days I took off. So it's been a great change. Lifestyle by design for sure. I mean, I have a 6-month-old son, Luca. I get to hang out with him every single morning, every single lunch break, every single night. It's incredible. I wouldn't change it for anything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I still didn't realize that your wife was pregnant when we played golf. That was like the biggest mind blow when you said that. She was like, I'm done after 9. And I was like, what? And you're like, yeah, she's pregnant. I was like, what? That shocked me. It was hilarious.
Yeah, you should see her now. Like even a month after she delivered our child, she snapped right back. Like she's less weight now than she was when before she got pregnant. She's incredible. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. A lot of people think that TV is mostly for bigger markets. And I know you're in a medium-sized market, but do you feel like TV is just for bigger markets, or do you think any market can utilize TV?
I personally think it's the exact opposite. I really do. I think if I was in a small city with like 80 to 100,000 people, I would be on TV, no doubt. Like, how could you not be the number one if you're in a small market like that? But then I talk to folks, like I have a ton of flipper friends in San Diego and Miami, and I'm like, there's no way I would do TV out there. Like, I don't think I would. Maybe, I have no idea. But in my head, just operating in smaller markets basically my entire life and knowing people in much, much larger markets. Like I know one of my good friends, he does TV in San Diego and he does crush it, but he also is the most dialed in operator I have ever met in my entire life. Like nobody's even close. I can't touch that. I'm not worth my salt to him whatsoever. So if you are in a large market, I think you need to be ridiculously good, like incredible, almost to perfection. If you're in a small market though, even if it's just you and your wife, like go spend $5,000 on TV. I guarantee you're going to get way better returns, way better connections. Everybody in town is going to know you. Like what more would you want from a market from an entrepreneurial standpoint is everybody knowing who you are and your name. Like I think that's the biggest business advantage in a small market. Even you're going to make money, you're going to make your money back. But aside from that, like the recognition would be ridiculous in a small town.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree with you 100%. What would you say to a real estate investor that isn't running TV in any market, for instance? What would you tell that investor that's still, chasing outbound, relying on texting, cold calling, or any other channel that's not TV?
Yeah, pull your big boy pants up. It's time. Like I said, we've been running TV. I think it's 8 years consistently now. Every single month, 8 straight years with a different provider and then you. There is 0% chance I would ever cut TV. It would be the last marketing channel I cut. If everything goes to hell in a handbasket, we lose all of our reserves, the market goes to zero, whatever, TV would be the last thread of hope in our business for sure. If you're not doing TV, if you have this is the thing, everyone thinks, 12 to 15 or 20 grand a month is a lot of money, right? For the first month, yes. And then that second month, your closings and your profits are going to start coming in the door and you're going to realize, wow, I'm hitting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10x to 1. And I don't need to sit here and tweak it. I don't need to do data management. I don't need to, I would highly advise anyone running PPC, cold calling, cold texting, cancel all 3 of those, take all the money, put it in TV. Like it's not even close, right? Just from the management of it, the return of it, like I can name a million different factors. The competition is not as involved in your leads. It's so much different.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
What would you tell your what would you tell your past self before you started running TV?
Oh, that's a good one. Rotate the commercials. Don't get lazy. It's really like the only thing we have to do with our TV is just keep creating the new commercial. So last year we made it a very important project for us to every single quarter swap out the TV, and we have seen great results from that. I mean, we just started a year and a half ago. For 6.5 years before that, I didn't do that. We changed it maybe once a year. We kind of used like the same two for many years together. So change the commercial if you can. You know, it's not hard. You can shoot it, the commercial at the station. You can find a videographer, send it to you guys. You guys put the rest of it together, and then you take it from there. So it takes us like an hour personally to shoot a new commercial. I know it takes you guys more time, but do that for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And I know you have an amazing agency that recruits talent. I would love to, have you kind of speak about it and just any new cool things that you guys got going on before we wrap up.
Absolutely. Thanks. No, yeah, we have an incredible team over at AKA Search Group. We haven't really talked about it as much, but yeah, we are primarily single family real estate investing recruiters, right? So I have a background in real estate investing. Obviously, my brother works with us. He's been, doing real estate investing forever. Another Connor and James, they both have been recruiters their entire life. Those are the main four of the team. And then we have Mitch and Michelle, who are more of the support and the administrative people helping our clients, giving our clients updates, same as candidates. But when it comes to AK Search Group, we specialize in acquisition managers, disposition managers, lead managers, construction managers. I mean, we have so many clients that are just solely single family real estate investors. And what makes that awesome is a lot of these clients get on a call with us and like, yeah, we've used recruiting firms before, but they don't know real estate investing. They don't really know what acquisitions is. They don't really know what dispositions is. And with my company, a client gets on with me and I talk to them. I'm generally 90% of the time the one giving them advice and suggestions and, hey, pull up your CRM. I'll give you some, free stuff. So that is what's awesome about it. Is sure, we do make money doing the recruiting, which is awesome. And we love it. And we're really, really, really good at it in this space. But also I get to meet so many cool people I never would have met and help them with their business. And they're always asking me questions and give them suggestions on how to grow and scale their team. So it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any cool things you guys got going on that front? Any new things that you guys are coming out with?
For AKA? Yeah, so a lot of things internally, not so much externally, but it obviously in turn helps our clients out, right? So I mentioned earlier, I have 3 guys coming down for the next 2 days. And then as well on Monday, we're doing all day business intensive stuff. It's for both Sierra Home Buyers and AKA, but all 3 are developers and all they focus on in our businesses is AI, tech, back-end systems, automation, everything, right? So Joel and I had a goal to not need to hire any more people. I don't believe in the recruiting company or Sierra we're going to need to hire anybody ever again, but we're going to be able to increase deal volume and profit margins through the new technologies and tools that are coming out. So I think we have 17 projects that we're discussing Thursday, Friday, and Monday. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming out, both to help our candidate find us more better quality candidates, also for our clients to give them more insights and feedback and really find that win-win for both parties. That's the name of the game.
That's awesome. If you want to give a quick plug, I know AKA Group, where can people go to, see if you guys can help?
Yeah, akasearchgroup.com. That is the website. If you want to send an email, send that to contact@akasearchgroup.com. The team will get that and they'll chat with you. And if they want to bring me in, they will. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Angela, I appreciate your time. Guys, if this resonates with you and you want to become the authority in your market and do something that 99% of investors are not doing, please go to 10xtv.co, no M, that's 10xtv.co to apply and see if your market is available. Again, Angelo, thank you so much for your time and look forward to the continued partnership, brother.
Absolutely. If you're still listening, guys, make the jump. Do it.